went, wow, I have to learn from this person. I got to be around them. And I actually decided to sign up for, it's a little bit of a longer story, but at that time when I was 21, I actually put on a seminar and I invited him to speak. And he came and spoke. And then after that, I said, hey, I want to get coaching from you. And I went and I hired him for coaching. I think it was around $500 that I spent with him. And wow, he gave me great coaching, and I went on to apply what he taught me and everything. And he was really impressed by what I applied and the progress that I made and just how disciplined I was. And that moment, I started to build a friendship with that person. And that person now today is a really good friend of mine. And his name's Wade Lightheart. And many of you guys might have seen him from my interviews and videos I've done with him, but very close friend of mine. Just talked to him the other day. So, that's an example of me defining and attracting that person into my life, okay? So define who you want to attract. Step number 2. Once you've got your list, define who you need to become to attract them. Okay? Define who do you need to become to attract them. In fact, I would ask myself, what kind of person do I need to become, or who do I need to become for them to pursue me? Okay? For them to seek you out and want to be friends with you. That's what I would focus on and think about. And the reason being is that you attract who you are. I'll say that again. You attract who you are. Because people like people that are like them, or they're like how they want to be. So if you want to attract someone and develop a friendship with them, you have to be someone that they see value in, okay? To pursue, to be friends with, okay? Oftentimes, we can go a little bit deeper here, but by all, if you go back to the tribal days of human beings when we used to live in tribes and whatnot, and we used to live in these small tribes of 30 or 40 people, a lot of it was based on status, okay? And the status is still something that's happening in today's society of how people perceive other people as either high status or low status. And we all have different definitions of that, but in society, there are universal things that we determine someone as having higher status. That could be someone that's more successful in a higher role or position in a job or a career, someone maybe that is very fit or has a certain physique, or it could be based on beauty. There's a lot of things that often can be superficial that in society we based on status. That is happening, okay? And if you, I guess a kind of simple way that I can put this is that, if someone in the status game, their perception is that they are maybe a 10 and then you're maybe a 3, well, they're not going to see a lot of value in having a friendship or being associated to you that much, okay? And oftentimes, it's not until you bring up your status and you become the kind of person that has value, that are like I said, people like people that are like them or how they want to be. When you gotta get on that same level, they're gonna then see the value in having that friendship or that relationship with you, okay? And that kind of leads to the third point. Is to become more valuable. You have to constantly work on yourself to become more. Because like I said, the more valuable you are, the more quality people that you're going to attract. If you're someone that is always negative, complaining, a very dramatic person, then that's what you're going to attract in your life. People often, the same applies for relationships. People, that are always creating drama and negative and complaining and depressed, you're going to attract people that are also negative and complaining and drama and depressed, and you're going to wonder why why, you're going to blame that other person, not realizing that you've attracted that based on who you are. Because if you're a negative person, then the happy person, the person that, is positive, they're not going to be attracted to you. They're not going to want to be around that, right? And vice versa. So understand that it's who you are, and you have to work on becoming more value. You have to increase your value. Okay? The way you increase your value is you work hard on yourself. Again, does depend on who you want to attract. Okay, that's very important. But things you can do is just self-development, what you're doing right now. Learning, constantly learning, reading books. Maybe it's traveling, or maybe it's improving your finances, your career, your business. Maybe it's, getting in better shape. Whatever it is that you can do that will allow you to become more valuable. If you want to attract healthy and fit people, you need to become that. You need to become that for them to see the value in being around you as well. Have you ever noticed that people that are healthy and fit, their friends are also healthy and fit? Or successful people, their friends are often also successful people? I remember a great quote by, I believe it was by Jim Rohn. And he said that you are the average of the 5 people that you spend time with. And they've even done research where they've identified that the 5 people that you spend time with, if you take the amount of money that they make on average, you're in the same ballpark of how much money that you make as well. So you've got a bunch of people, they all make around $60,000 a year. They can pretty much figure out based on that how much money that you might make based on that. So become more valuable, guys. And again, there's a lot of the different ways you can do that based on what you want to attract, and define, again, who you need to become. Maybe you got to become a giver. Maybe you got to become, good at networking or building relationships. For example, I've got certain friends that, some of the value they have is also just, sometimes it's just fun. I've got certain friends that are just very adventurous, life the party. They're always, always know the latest events that are going on, or the concerts, or the activities. That's value that he's providing, right? He's always introducing people and connecting people to one another. That's providing value to others. That's someone of value, someone that has those relationships, right? So you can see that becoming valuable can mean a lot of different things. But again, like I said, it's going to be based on this. Okay, step number 4. And again, I do recommend that you write this down, and that you, as I'm speaking right now, you start thinking about and writing down ways that you can become more valuable, and go through this process. And of course, afterwards, you can always come back to this video and go through this process again and again. Okay, next, step number 4. Step number 4 is to put yourself in environments where you can automatically attract the people that you want in your life. Okay? You can automatically attract these kind of people that you've defined. So once you get clear on the people that you want to attract in your life, you got to ask yourself, where do they go? Where do they spend their time? What kind of environments are they in? Example is, for myself, I realized, okay, the people I want to attract are people that are motivated, or they're people that, are, they've got goals and they got visions and they're pursuing things and they're willing to self-development. So I started putting myself in environments where I can meet them. I started going to seminars, because people that are motivated, people that are trying to achieve things in their life, they're trying to get better, they're trying to grow.
All right. Well, there's that. Couple of tips and tricks on how to attract high-level successful people in your life. Actually, this is a really key thing. The networking aspect is super important. You've studied the traits of millionaires. Some of the top 3 traits that all millionaires have are influence, networking, and marketing. These are the top three. Um, Now, not everyone can master each of them. Usually, like someone's a master of one of them or multiple, but these are usually the top three traits of millionaires and billionaires. Um, I would say the billionaire status is kind of an extra level above. It's more of innovation. Um, it's yeah, it's a way higher way of thinking, and kind of some levels of where I'm working towards is just going to take some time and getting things down. But anyways, welcome everyone who came in here. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Just to let you guys know ahead of time, this live analysis should be taking somewhere between 45 minutes to an hour of doing analysis. And today is the first day that we are going from 11 p.m. Pacific Standard to now 9 p.m. Pacific Standard. If you guys saw with the votes, most people voted for 9 p.m. 7 p.m. was kind of close there. It was between 7 and 9 p.m. that I was noticing. So 9 p.m. was the winner, and I do think it's a pretty good time. It's a time where most people can get on both Eastern and Pacific Standard, or just different parts of the world can get on during these times here. So that is awesome. Welcome, Joe, Jose, Kelvin, Kevin, Lenny, Malik, Max, Marian, Mohit, Nathaniel, Ricardo, Ruben, Ms. Jazz, Samir. Got a lot of new names in here. Welcome, Angel, Anthony, Antonio, Alec. Oh, Alec, we just got off of a call earlier. Zane, welcome everyone. Okay, so I am going to try to find this button here for a poll. I did want to ask you guys which currency pairs you guys want to have today. By the way, the webinar feature, this one's actually one of the, this is like my third time doing the webinar feature, but there's this one button that just disappeared that I can't find. To bring up the polls, but anyways, going to start doing the live analysis. In the meantime, inside of the chat area, you can put currency pairs that you want me to analyze. The ones that I see the most, I will be looking at, and mainly the majors, obviously, like I see USD JPY was requested, XAE USD, GBP USD, GJ. Cool. So first, let's start off by looking at what we have for the week here. There was some high impact earlier for the USD at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard. That already passed. Now getting into the New York session, or sorry, London session, we have Euro medium impact happening. And then at 12:30, there's a high impact on Euro. So within the first hour, we're definitely going to be looking at Euro. What's Euro expected to do, and see what we see there. Then we have GBP medium impact at 1:30. Then 5:30 during the New York session, we have CAD, and then 6:45 high impact on USD. By the way, the reason why Technical Tuesday is one of the why I do it on Tuesdays, not just because of the catchy name, Technical Tuesday TT, but Tuesdays is usually a really good time to look for trades. Mondays not so well, because there's not as much impact in the market compared to getting into Wednesday and Thursday. There's going to be a lot, usually high impact news during those times. If you can see, I look at next week, during Monday, Tuesday, not so much. And then getting into Wednesday, Thursday, some on Friday, which is not likely here. Oh, that's because of NFP on Friday that week. But yeah, that's going to be the best times to be trading. So since we have some high impact on Euro and GBP, I'm going to be mainly looking at those pairs and seeing your guys' requests here. Oh, I found the button here. It was hiding to do the poll. So that's what happens when you have two 49-inch monitors. Just lots of things everywhere. Okay, so we are. And I can't even find, there we go, polls, launch poll. So you should be seeing something pop up in your screen, which currency pairs you'd like me to analyze. Seeing already some GJ, GU. All right. Let's do this. So there we go. Euro USD, USD JPY. So far, I'm seeing GJ being the highest rated so far between GJ and Euro USD. So we'll be looking at those. GBP, JPY. Now I'll erase everything so you guys can see the top-down analysis. Some of you are in here also learning throughout the process. I would say most are learning or probably want expert advice with certain things. So as of now, GJ, from what I see, hitting off this major support off here. It's been bullish for a while, going into the uptrend. We do see, as of now, it's doing its high over here. Usually after the high, you're expecting a low. This low that it did over here, not so much of a low. So I do think it's going to be dropping some more. See some divergence there. It is currently at a weekly resistance right now. Actually, I'm going to make this darker resistance line there. And look out a bit more, see if I notice anything. As far as resistance line, it's currently at a resistance. So as of now, where the current price is at, this is a double resistance point. Double resistance point on a bigger time frame, so should be expecting a big reaction off this move or off this current area now, spotting out divergence. So lots of different things telling me that price is expected to reverse. As I come into the smaller time frame, just going to look more into price action stuff. Okay, go down to the daily. I mean the 4 hour here. Move pivots. Okay, so as far as GBP JPY, and actually I was mentioning this inside of the chat for the signals announcements, that a lot of JPY trades are showing pretty much the exact same thing, where they're doing like a retracement area currently right now. And I do think, as far as like a bigger time frame, this is kind of showing, we do see these lows right here is pretty weak. If I was to do the Fibonacci, it's definitely at the, like, actually it's not. It's at 61.850% area. Okay, so there is potential for it to continue going up because it didn't drop into the 78.6, 88.6. So it's just a matter of getting closer and trying to see what the actual price does around these areas, because we're already expecting this is a strong area of resistance. Would have been better if this low here would have been lower, just to kind of confirm the weaker trend there. So it is temporarily on a uptrend. Gonna remove the fibs, and since we're expecting for that reversal to happen, high to low, and I actually had put the low a little bit higher, not at this very low point, just because of the alignment of certain areas here. So I'm looking to see if there's anything here that's going to tell me to sell. As of now, there's nothing just yet. I'm actually patient with a lot of the JPY pairs, Euro JPY, USD JPY, NZD JPY. Like I was just AUD JPY. All these JPY pairs, they were showing me a lot of potential reversals. And so as far as JPY goes, there isn't any high impact on JPYs that I'm seeing. Things that can affect the JPY pair, but we'll still be on the lookout for certain trades. So this one, as of now, not really showing much there. Question that, by the way, if you have any questions, put it inside the Q&A area. I can answer them through there. Okay, so let's look at the next one. Euro USD actually was one lots of people voted on. So let's check that one out. Euro to the USD. Okay. So as far as top-down analysis, let me get into that. And just to answer your question, you don't have to put into the Q&A since I saw it in the chat area, but with that question, as far as if I start at the weekly, it really depends. Sometimes I go out to the monthly. Depends on how much price I can see. And you'll notice this as you look at certain pairs, like some it's really steep down, so you have to like go all the way down, and in order to see everything, like it might not show you if you crunch everything together. So sometimes I do have to go out to the monthly, but for Euro USD, like I can easily see everything on the weekly, all the high points, all the low points. So everything's good here. As far as Euro USD, I do see that it did break this resistance. Get my resistance there. Okay, going into this area. So if you can see, kind of like on a bigger time frame here, daily, we do see that the trend is no longer a strong uptrend. You know this pattern here, it's doing a head and shoulders pattern where price is expected to reverse. This is what I'm talking about as far as Fibonacci from this low to this high. We can see that it's at the 78.6, 88.6. So it's showing signs of a weak trend. And if I was to reverse this backwards, it also shows signs on the opposite way. So it's kind of like in a consolidating, not so much of a trend area, but we do see head and shoulders. So right now at the support, and as of now, what I see happening with Euro USD. So this is kind of like that right shoulder. I was selling during these areas last week, and right now we see that price is shooting up. Price is shooting up. We see inverted head and shoulders here. Actually posted this earlier. So as of now, it's expected to go up into that area right there. This high right there. This is more of like a quick scalping trade, most likely during the the London session, you'll see it spike up, and I think during the New York, it will bring the price down. Oh, I have this backwards here. It's not short, it's long to this price. So if I zoom more into the price, well, let me first get my high to low right here. So it's expected to go into the 38.2 area right here. And you can see right now, currently, if I zoom in, so it's doing a head and shoulder pattern, left head, right shoulder right here. Stopped about halfway, doing its retest. During that retest right here is where we can get in for the buy. If I was to kind of scalp this a little bit more, low to high. And so right here is where we're expected for price to hit and then bounce off. So if we want to get in on a trade here to buy this, we would want to look somewhere above this resistance line, entering in for a buy. So I would say about that 23.6% on that Fibonacci there, aiming for this negative 61.8 right there. And so that's just to catch that that scalping trade there. That scalping trade for the buy. The only thing that I don't like with this is it's going towards a downtrend, so we should be seeing it hit this level here and then continue to drop down. So I'm expecting for price to rise into this level and then continue to shoot down. So that's the analysis on Euro USD. For this buy right here, I'll put the stop loss so you guys can see where I would have that. Good risk to reward. I think it's like 600 to 400. Let's see. I was looking at this earlier. No, it's about 1-to-1 there. 1-to-1 here, and you can even go even higher into the 50% having a take profit too. I'm not too sure if I'm going to call this one for the signals though. I might be looking more towards the New York session, just because against my strategy, I don't like buying the low for the downtrend here, because it's doing a lower low, so we're expecting lower high, lower low. So it would be a good quick scalping, but not good on a bigger trade. All right, and make sure when you're asking questions to put in the Q&A area. It's the button next to the chat area for here. Someone asked if I can zoom in a bit more. Yeah, I could. It might be because I have the bigger screen, kind of harder to see. Okay, so let's see the next pair you guys requested. Sure, I can look at GBP USD. GBP USD should be showing pretty much the same thing that Euro USD is showing, where it's expected to go into an uptrend just because of the correlation of those pairs. So you'll see what I mean when I get into this. That doesn't mean we'll see the head and shoulders there, the inverted head and shoulders. Actually, you do. Just like the Euro USD, there's the inverted head and shoulders here, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. It basically looks like, well, oops, accidentally pressed something. So with GBP USD, it basically looks like the Euro USD, where kind of broke out doing its retest, and then now it's like a buy entry, but overall it is on a downtrend. And yeah, this would be like buying the low of the downtrend. Looking into bigger area. This I was actually explaining this earlier of a potential for this one, but there is a chance it's going to continue dropping down into this area, then coming back up, maybe doing a triple top up here, and then getting into the downtrend there. So almost exactly the same as Euro USD, even with this resistance right here that's happening. So yeah, if you see me sell Euro USD, you'll usually see me selling GBP USD. Okay, let's go to the. All right, so for XAU USD, this is I'll wait for this one pretty soon. I'll be covering over the currency pairs, and then we'll get into like the gold there. So let's look at USD JPY. I erase everything. Make it as simple as possible so you guys can understand this part. As far as USD JPY, did go above, come back down, go above. There is still potential for it to drop back down. I think I noticed with RSI, so it was already showing divergence. I see it's basically even with this previous high, and it's already showing lower. So definitely showing divergence there. Doesn't mean it will stop here. Divergence would just mean that it's potentially going to be dropping. Chopping the price some more. We got support there. So if you can see with USD JPY, it is going in a slight uptrend. Slight uptrend here, just doing higher highs, higher lows, but pretty soon it's going to die down. It's currently at this previous high on the left-hand side here. So there is a chance that it's going to be dropping down. This time frame doesn't show the divergence. And I don't see anything for scalping. Unless this was like the left shoulder, this is the head, and then potentially that price shoots down into about here, then back up, then back down. Until I see something like that, then I would get in for a sell. But for now, I don't see anything. But it is at that resistance and expected to drop. Okay, looking at questions here. Okay, so you asked, but that means EU could be bullish if UJ is bearish. So yes, EU can be bullish, which Euro USD is like bullish, bullish right now, and can be bearish for USD JPY. I'm on the smaller time frame right now, so it is like expected to drop just based off like this resistance area. So if this does drop, then Euro USD will be going up, and then there is a chance this will drop to about here and then probably continue going up. So it's, as of now, all of these are not really showing that clear of trades compared to last week. They were super clear. It was really easy trades. The confirmations for this week aren't super clear. There was a couple clear ones that I noticed for exotic pairs or Euro AUD, which I can go over that one. Actually, let me look at Euro AUD right now. It's still moving kind of healthy with Euro UD. Okay. Yes, you can look at RSI on the weekly as well. You can see them on all time frames. The weekly will take a longer time for it to reverse usually, but if you can spot the reversal on the smaller time frame, then you just kind of mix those together. All right. Let's see here. So I'm going to be pointing out Euro JPY. Wasn't one on the list. I noticed a lot of people put other. This is one that I'm currently analyzing and a potential prediction of what I'm looking for, which is what I noticed was a lot of these JPY pairs. So price had this low coming up like that and hitting around this level where we're expected for it to hit and then continue to drop down. As far as bigger time frame, it is on the uptrend. It did break out through here, kind of came back in place. But if we do see a reaction around here, then it's most likely going to continue the start of the bigger downtrend. So then throughout this entire area, we would be looking for sells into like other supports. It's like we would be having this whole entire area as a mainly looking for sells. So I call that my sell zone once it starts getting into those areas. But sometimes I get in early before those sell zones. So that's kind of what I'm predicting in advance. And a lot of the different currency pairs are showing the same thing. So if you notice the repetition between these pairs, then it's kind of showing you a sign of what currency pairs are doing. And I notice a lot of them are off of the JPY. So that's why I was looking to see if there's any high impact on JPY that's expected to move the price, to push the price down. There was a JPY I don't think I had looked at just yet, AUD JPY. So I can do this top-down analysis here. Okay, so this is actually an example of something that I would go out to the monthly on. I could see it kind of clearly on the weekly, but not too much. So I would just like drop it down a bit on the monthly so I can see everything. And then I just mark off my areas. So I can see mainly resistance there. There was resistance here that was broken. And okay, so right now it's not at this this resistance just yet. So just from looking at this, I do see it's going into a downtrend. This is a monthly, so each of these candles represents a full month. But I do see that it's pushing down and most likely going to push down somewhere around here and then continue to push up into that resistance. So since that's what I'm expecting, see how weekly is showing the divergence there. Zooming in, so price already broke out of this this uptrend, and kind of the same thing as what I'm seeing with all the JPYs. Breakout, it's coming back up, and so Fibonacci would be like that. Probably see this better on the 4-hour there. So Fibonacci low to high, expecting price to hit around this zone right here. Just like all of them, they're all pretty much at that zone right now, where it's expected to hit this area and then bounce down. Trapping this a bit more, distance. There we go. See if I can spot out anything else here. Gonna look at pivots too real quick. Yeah, so just gonna stay a little patient for this area. I don't just get in right when it hits that area. I look for something that's confirming that it hits that area and then it's expected to reverse. So just gonna stay patient for a lot of these. Most likely we'll be seeing the movements either later tonight during the London session or New York session. Yeah, until then, I'm gonna stay patient. AUD, let me see if there's news on that. I saw it for Friday. Oh, I was just 22nd. Yeah, I don't see anything. Okay. All right, let's answer some questions here. I can look into USD CAD. Bitcoin, I can say right now that Bitcoin did hit the low. I'll do this real quick. Actually hit lower than I expected, and usually it breaks out of these areas, does a retest, and continue to rise up. In this case, it didn't, but it did hit this previous area over here. So that's basically that low that it was hitting. Strong rejection off that, so we'll see what happens with Bitcoin there. Okay, so going to be checking out USD CAD and if you guys have any questions, just let me know. One sec. Looking at your guys' messages here. Yeah, I'm seeing some questions inside the regular chat area, so make sure to ask your questions inside the Q&A area. Okay, so someone asked a question here about macroeconomics come into play. So when it comes to the fundamentals of trading, I'm not really looking at what's happening with fundamentals. Fundamentals does have an impact as far as like putting in more volatility in the market, and with technicals will tell me when to get in, and I've usually been able to predict which way the technicals is going, or which way the currency is going based off the technicals, and the fundamentals is just that extra like confirmation. So An example is like if I see maybe it's at a strong resistance and I'm waiting for a breakout. Um, so let's say showing something like this. If you were there during the training, like a reversal pattern would be something like a triple top. If I see it's at a triple top, there's like a strong resistance here, and then news is about to hit and it's maybe somewhere around there, then I would have a pending sell order ready before the news hits. And when the news hits, it will just confirm my trade to then enter in on this trade for a sell. Usually it just spikes, it just drops down. So that's how I would use the technicals with fundamentals. Uh, okay, so let me get back into what I was going to be checking out. USD CAD. I can check out gold. I haven't checked it out recently. So with USD CAD, I mentioned buy yesterday. If you see a lot of these USD pairs are, well, USD CAD or Euro USD, it's basically the pairs that don't move together, so they're opposite. When this is going on a downtrend, like right now, it's going on a temporary downtrend. Euro USD is going on a temporary uptrend. So like overall, this is uptrend when Euro USD is actually going in a downtrend. But anyways, this is kind of showing the same thing. In a way, this is also like, instead of the inverted head and shoulders, this one's like the head and shoulders that it's showing here. Not so much of a head and shoulders, but you kind of get the concept. It's kind of showing the same thing. So prices coming down, most likely going to hit somewhere in this area and then continue to rise up. The only thing that I don't like is these big spikes doesn't show consistency in charts. I like trends that are moving like at a nice steady flow rather than like it's having a flow and then spike. I can get in for the spike, but when it starts coming down into these areas, it's a little harder. It's still possible by trapping the price. So like trapping the price for this would be giving the resistance there, and it's basically getting the price ready to sell, or I mean to buy within this area right here. So now that it's here, then I'm looking for something to confirm that it's going. So I'm already seeing some divergence there, but we should be seeing this continue to rise up, most likely during the high impact on USD at 645. So I do think during the London, it will be coming down a bit more, and then during New York, it will push it up. That's just what I've seen from experience. London will bring it down, and USD will push it up. How do you read the news before they release it? Again, if you can ask the questions inside the Q&A area, that I'd appreciate that. For Euro AUD, I already placed a sell on Euro AUD. Some of you can actually get in on Euro AUD now. So I had the pending sell stop in here, which is currently activated. It was hitting this resistance, showing the divergence, and just giving me signs that this trend is no longer strong anymore and expected to reverse. So I was just zoomed in, looking for that reversal area, and now expecting for that drop. Which if Euro AUD drops, it's kind of confirming with my Euro USD one as well, because the Euro is the base currency. They both have the Euro in the front. So if I think this is going to drop, same with Euro USD, I think it's going to go up, but overall continue to drop. So that's why I stand by that one. And it also confirms with my AUD JPY. Okay, let's look at some questions here. Since I've been seeing you guys requesting gold, I can check that one out for you guys. XAU USD. Yeah, you're gonna reset everything. Zoom out. Gold on the uptrend, not the low. So it broke above this resistance, then came back into place. This resistance isn't even that strong. Just from what I'm seeing, it's only 2 points here. Actually adjust this a bit more. Go. So as of now, XAE USD should be rising up. It's at the level that we want it to be at, between 50, 61.8. Go down to the 1 hour. Now I can see a quick scalp right here for sure. Quick scalp right here for a buy. This buy would be right here, and it can be multiple trades that can be placed for this, because this is kind of like getting in kind of early right here. So this first trade can be just like this. Second trade, aiming more for a stronger push. And looking at bigger time frame, I don't know if you can see this here, but this is kind of like showing a bigger head and shoulders, which I noticed earlier. Looking at the bigger time frame here, did a double bottom here, but it's also kind of like a bigger head and shoulders, where this left is aligned with the right side. So with that, head and shoulders neckline would look like that. Could potentially see this rising pretty high once it breaks these levels here, rising into that high. But that's more long term. It might take a while for it to reach all the way over there. But for now, I could see it rising into that neckline area that I wrote off. So quick trade. You can even have the second trade just to be keeping it safer at the 23.6, just because these areas kind of play like support and resistance with Fibonacci. 38.2, 23.6. You can even have that a third one, take profit 3. Might actually be seeing a signal for this, but I can see that there's potential for this rise there. Um, let's see if there's any questions here. Do I offer account management? I do not offer account management. There might be something in the future for mirror trading. Um, that's a potential with like the signals. I'm just trying to figure out how to do where the signals also gets posted um, with within like the MT4, and that's going to be like a certain software. And I think we're I'm actually speaking to the developers of the chat area and making it where a signal can press a button and then it will automatically copy it onto someone's trade. So that's more manual, but also automatic in a way. Um, and then on top of that, taking it a step further is the automatic version. So that's in the works. Uh, I am familiar with Social Trader. I was actually looking into that platform. I just haven't fully gone into it. So I'll definitely put that on my things to do tomorrow to look into that platform because I did create an account and I started going into it. But if you have seen some experience with it, then I can definitely check it out. Okay. Um, all right. Reference. So you're asking what's good to reference points learned technical analysis, TA. Um, so inside of the training area, there's a lot of technical analysis training. Um, it's there's just lots of different resources that you can go through. One of the main ones, if you're a beginner for technical analysis, is like the Forex Trading 101. Um, Actually, I did want to let you all know, and you guys would be hearing this earlier than everyone else. Just don't don't let everyone know just yet. But there is going to be the second edition from the Forex Trading 101. Forex Trading 101 is like part one. Then part two is going to be more of that um, advanced breakdown. So like with Forex Trading 101, it goes over like extra details on different things like what is lot size, just kind of the basics of trading, and then also getting into the technical analysis side, like getting into patterns and things that I look for sells, for example, and what I see in the charts, and basically everything just broken down, and even video trainings on each of these, um, like putting support and resistance, for example, is kind of like the more on the basic side. But then once we start getting into the next training portion, that one's going to be more advanced. Mentioned here it's coming soon, and you guys will hear the name first. I won't be releasing it to anyone just yet, but make sure you guys don't release it out. So this training is going to be called Forex Masters. It's going to be the final training. It's going to be the part two of this one. So this is part one. That one's going to be part two. We're just going to cover over the more advanced things, all the different advanced topics when it comes to trading. Uh, Things that are pretty much covered inside the 7-day FX Mastery. If you have the 7-day FX Mastery, then you don't necessarily need to uh, get this one. Um, but yeah, it's a lot more advanced training there. right. Okay. Now, is there any pairs you guys want me to check out? I have room for one currency pair, and then we're going to be getting off at 10 p.m. Pacific Standard. Don't want to pass the hour mark. Want to keep these consistent and not over analyzing here. Appreciate that, Ralph. GBP AUD. Yeah, I can check out GBP AUD. By the way, with this is the Forex Masters one right here. You guys got the first preview. But with the 7-day FX Mastery, it is like group mentorship or homework assignment type thing where I'm checking everyone's assignment, making sure that things are looking good. Oh, I actually realized I need to take this link off. Okay. GBP AUD, since this was the first one someone had mentioned. Let's check this out. See how this one kind of have to look all the way back here. Actually, the weekly should be fine to see this, but sometimes you have to look pretty far back. Okay. Gonna get my points here. If you can see right now, the price is pretty much trapped in this area. That's the goal, trapping the price. Strong resistance, strong support, bounce off support, going up towards resistance. Okay. Just from regular price action and what I see here, yeah, this high here is basically doing a higher high here. This is at the previous resistance currently now. So we're expecting for this to be the high to then most likely come down, create the low, and then continue to rise up. Divergence there. Okay. By the way, you guys probably know if you've been to these live analysis that sometimes I'll get kind of quiet. That's when I'm like looking and analyzing, kind of thinking in my head. All right, so we have this double top reversal that happened here. See if it completed it yet. Okay, so it did complete. It's good there. All right. So with GBP AUD, I do see it's going into the uptrend. It's at this strong resistance area, so it's expected to drop down. With what I see right now, there's potential for this to drop down. Now, sometimes this drop, there's no saying that it's going to drop exactly here with this previous low. But what I do think it will probably drop somewhere around here, come back up, do like a bigger head and shoulders. By the way, a lot of these times when I do these lines right here, they do play out just because I've seen these over and over again on how price moves. So you'll most likely see something like this. So yeah, when it comes back up like that, then we'll most likely be doing the Fibonacci from this head to down here. Then it will hit around 5061.8. Looks about right. And that area where it hits, it's also that neckline of that double top over there. So that'd be a really good trade right here for a sell. I'm actually going to be adding this one to my potentials here. And then overall, like bigger analysis, you guys saw expecting for this to drop down to maybe around here. Drop down to about here and then continue to rise up. It's because it is going on the uptrend. Now, a lot of the times these pairs, you have to wait for them to come to you. You don't go to the part, go to the currency pair. You want to just wait for it to present itself, and you predict based off of like technical analysis of what's expected. And when you can expect these things, and you just know, and you just wait for it to do its thing. Now, not always will it go the way that you expected. Sometimes it would drop a little lower than where you expected, but you just go with the price. Like if this dropped lower and it came back up, it most likely will drop low and come back up, and I just adjust my Fibonacci's accordingly and adjust my neckline accordingly when something like that happens. Like it's just going with the trend, going with whichever way the market's showing you. And yes, waiting on the break. Breaking of the support isn't necessarily like a good confirmation just because it breaks through, because I've seen many times where it does break through and then come back up. It'll just like wick back up. So that's why I wait for multiple confirmations to tell me to enter in on a trade. Like right now, I do see it's at a strong resistance. If it breaks the support, it's just breaking the support, but it didn't even drop below the resistance on this bigger resistance. Like we would need to see it more on this side to consider that as a sell. And it would have to be more of a long term if you're doing that. But I'm looking for more confirmations. This as of now is not really confirming. If anything, with price action, this is more confirming this is going up rather than going in for a sell. But because it's at a strong resistance point, I'm not getting in for a buy because there is that chance of it to break and continue going down. So it's either up or down, looking at price action, waiting for the moves. That's it. Anyways, that concludes today's live analysis. Appreciate you guys for showing up here. Hope you guys learn maybe a thing or two. If you learn nothing, then that sucks. Sorry about that. But if you have taken any of the training that I've done, this is definitely a perfect way to practice, is by looking and seeing how I analyze trades. And you'll see like past 3 weeks, actually past 2 weeks have been around 90% win ratio for signals. So there's a reason why it's been pretty high, and it's because I've just been keeping it simple. And lately I've been staying patient with these trades. I actually asked a question 2 weeks ago before this win ratio started for the risk managed for the signals. Was the question that I asked was, what would you guys prefer, quality or quantity? So I know people sometimes want quantity of trades, like to place lots of trades, but it is best to be patient. And although there might be less trades being patient, um, it's going to be better that way. So there can be more wins and more stacking on trades, but just don't over leverage on those trades. All right. That is it, you guys. Appreciate you all, and we'll see you guys next week. See you guys.
Just another day. With Comcast Business, you get the network that can deliver gig speeds to the most businesses and advanced cybersecurity to protect every device on it. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
I think we're in the midst of a major kind of rotation, and this time around it's not really directional, so it means, you know, this is back and forth, back and forth. Actually, you can look at the 10-year Treasury yield, and then you can tell, you know, whether cyclicals take the upper hand when the yields go up, and vice versa. So I think, you know, we're in limbo here. At this stage, for the time being, we think, you know, cyclicals have a tremendous run. We cut back our exposure in springtime. And I think it's just too early to go kind of broadly back in. So it's more of a balanced thing. It's unfortunately, you know, patience needed, and you are more in a wait-and-see mode at this stage.
We got a heck of a call from Jeremy Grantham yesterday. He was on the Bloomberg terminal doing a conversation, co-founder at GMO. He sees bubbles everywhere. He talks about bond stocks, real estate, and commodities. So it's a trifecta and a half for him that he hasn't seen before, not since Japan 1989. We know how that ended. Do you share his angst? He says stay away from SPOOs, stay away from the S&P and Bitcoin. I mean, he's vexatious when it comes to Bitcoin. But he says he sees the opportunity in value and EM. Do you think that you see this level of bubbles and risk that Grantham sees?
I think that's seriously, of course, a concern, and you know, the central banks are managing their monetary policy also via asset prices, so kind of blowing up these kind of, you know, getting asset markets up is basically part of a wealth effect they want to get, and it's extreme at this stage. But again, you know, if you go over to Europe, I don't know where the bubble is in European banks. You know, they're depressed still in terms of valuations, and therefore have some sympathies. And know as soon as the yield goes back, growth prospects go back, we'll just have a major rotation into the growth franchises. So I think it's too early to call for the end of this bubble. And if Jay Powell is actually holding on to his words, then you know, maybe the bubble will even be more extreme by 2023 or so.
Well, if you're looking at what the Fed is saying in relation to this bubble, and they're clearly aware of it, how much do you rejigger your portfolio based on what they've said over the past week, or just write it off as them trying to talk off some of the froth in the market?
I think I'd rather not kind of change, you know, the asset allocation or any tactical calls based on short-term central bank rhetoric. So I think, you know, it's really about having to figure out what's going to happen after this major bounce in the economy, and what will the post-recovery economy look like? Will it be stagflationary? Will it be boom? And for the time being, we just see a lot of normalization. So for us, it's really stay the course. It's more of a neutral. The big opportunities in terms of relative plays are maybe out for summer, and then, you know, it's about revisiting the case come September, October.
Yeah, well, the taper tantrum in 2013 only took stocks down by about, what, 6-7%, and then they went on to power ahead. Christian, stay with us. We've a little bit more work to do. Christian Gattaca, you got up early. We're going to work you hard. Julius Baer, head of research. Our guest this morning on Daybreak Europe. Let's get the first word news. Annabelle Drewlers has that from Hong Kong.
Thanks, Manus. Well, Sydney is set to impose new restrictions, including compulsory mask wearing at indoor venues, as an outbreak of the Delta variant spreads in the region. Meanwhile, the US looks set to undershoot President Biden's vaccination target. The White House says it will narrowly fail to get 70% of adults a first shot by the July 4th holiday. Morgan Stanley's told employees they'll need to be vaccinated against COVID-19 to enter its New York offices. CEO James Gorman says about 90% of return staff have already had their shots. The firm says the goal is to help create a normal office environment without a need for face masks and physical distancing. Former Citigroup chief economist Catherine Mann is to join the Bank of England as a policymaker from September. With previous roles at the World Bank and OECD, Mann brings international experience to the BOE as it weighs when it can recalibrate its easy monetary stimulus. And the UK government is to consult on new rules for on-demand video providers. While stream content from the BBC is subject to code overseen by media watchdog Ofcom, foreign competitors like Netflix and Disney are currently not subject to regulation. Global news 24 hours a day on air and on Bloomberg Quick Take, powered by more than 2,700 journalists and analysts in more than 120 countries. This is Bloomberg. Danny?
Annabelle, thank you so much. Annabelle Jewelers there. Now, coming up, we hear exclusively from Glencore's CEO. That's, of course, Ivan Glassenberg, who's going to give us his views on China's effort to cool the markets. This is Bloomberg.
Hey, Calvin, you still there? Saw you asked a question here. You can write in the chat area. I want to make sure you're in here so I can answer that question.
It wants to go higher. It got a little spooked by the idea that geopolitical tensions are rising.
Okay, probably left.
Television is reinventing one of the most iconic brands in financial television for a new audience. Join me to see the news program.
Greetings from The Edge, where doctors keep pace with patients, stores have psychic powers, and industries transform before your eyes. All made possible by HPE's Edge to Cloud platform.
Actually, I do see, Calvin, you're still...
This is Bloomberg Daybreak Europe, 6:14 a.m. in the city of London. I'm Danny Berger with Manus Cranny.
No, it's not live 24 hours.
Now let's turn
I
to
actually
commodities, where the
extended
head
this.
of Glencore says Beijing's effort to cool the market won't
I wasn't
last
even
long.
planned to be extended.
Ivan
I just
told
kept
Bloomberg
it
exclusively
on.
that prices will stay high and supply
I'm about to
won't
be
meet
ending it
demand from the
pretty
U.S.
soon.
and China. He spoke
Most
at the
people
Qatar
have
Economic
left.
Forum.
You got the big infrastructure spend,
But anyways,
which
to
is
answer
occurring in China
Calvin's
at the moment.
question,
It started early when the COVID crisis
Calvin, you
hit
didn't
and the Chinese
respond.
got
I
out
do
of
see
the
you're in here,
problems.
probably
They
stepped away.
started spending on infrastructure and pushing the infrastructure fiscal spending.
Let
and
me
that started
stop
the
this here. Okay, so with your question, you said, wanted to ask you one question. What would you say is the most key element needed when analyzing the market, as in things you have to spot when you get in first? So one of the things that, or actually the most important thing when looking at the market, is which way is the trend going? It's very, as simple as this concept is, it's a matter of looking which way the trend is going, because if you're going with the trend, you're most likely going to win. If you're going against the trend, you are probably going to lose unless you have a strategy against counter trend trading. So I have both like with the trend and counter trend that I can get in on. So it's not necessary. But if you go with the trend, that is most likely most of your trades you'll win going with the trend. So I would say piece of advice there is just as simple and basic as this is, look at lower lows, lower highs, see that it's on a downtrend and place sells, or see higher highs and higher lows. You know it's on an uptrend, place buys. Even if you get in the middle of nowhere, like get in on the high, like let's say for this, just point out a uptrend here. So like here we see a higher high, higher low. If you got in like, even as it created the higher high, if you got in middle right here for a buy, it's still likely going to continue pushing up just because you're placing a buy towards an uptrend. So piece of advice there. Obviously, there's key areas to get in on. That requires more practice and skill there, mixing different things. But yeah, hope that answers your question. I'm actually going to be ending the live right now. Yeah, hope you guys have a good night. Speak to you guys later. Actually, last question here, Lenny. So you said, how do you double your profits account of 500? So a way to double your account from 500 is you place a 5 lot and you enter in the right area where you are most likely going to win, and you can double your account. But that is not recommended though. We're in here for the long game. We're not in here for the short game. You know, you have to have good risk management. So doubling your account is definitely possible, but focus more on consistency and catching a percentage of your trades. If you've seen any of my risk management videos, I mentioned you can trade like 1-2% on the risk side. So if you're risking, let's say 2% to make 4%, each of your trades, like that means you have to win a good amount of trades to do 100%. But when you lose, you only lose 2%. So it's like you're not you're not really risking that much of your entire account. And yeah, as you start getting bigger and bigger account, the 4% profit would be a lot of profit. That won't be a lot compared to the big account that you have in the future, but it would be a bigger amount. So just focus on percentages, compounding, and you should be good there. Okay, so I can answer that last question of yours. This will be the final one. It's about the best entry points because you're struggling. You're struggling with that. Every time I get in the market, it retraces back on me and I lose my trades. Okay, so the best entry points, I actually mentioned one of my favorite entry points. There's no entry point that's 100%. I want you to get that straight. There's no entry point that is 100%. But the point with trading is knowing exactly which way, or having the best areas where it's expected to go that way. So I would actually suggest that you watch this training video that I posted. I actually did a training last week. And in this training video, I cover over with the trend, my best methods for trading. Well, not really my best methods, but something that you can already start using now to already start winning your trades. And I'm actually showing some of it here inside of this analysis here, where it's like 1, 2, 3. In that video, you'll see the 1, 2, 3 there. I'll post it in the chat here. Make sure to get that before I end this chat here. But yeah, that's look over that, and then if you haven't taken any training, the Market Masters Academy website, I created all the training within the Market Masters Academy. So there's different types of training. There's some that are like PDF trading cheat sheets. So this is like, it has a lot of information on the price action to better improve your skills. There's a Forex Trading 101, so you can kind of see the different ones. And this is more for like beginners, getting the hang of it, understanding price action, understanding trading in general. Then there's like signals, and this is the most advanced one, 7-day FX Master. This is if you're fully committed, and if you're like ready to take it to that next level, getting more of that group mentorship there. Yeah. Oh, and as for the one-on-one mentorship, I'm actually not offering that. Did in the past, and going to be traveling, so not going to have time for mentorships. Okay. So I just posted it in the chat area, but you can check on YouTube, look up Market Masters Academy on YouTube, and you'll see that it's one of the videos labeled Forex Training Session. I can reply to your comment there. Yeah, going to be ending this live now. And that is it. You guys have a good night. We'll speak to you guys most likely next week, unless we randomly decide to travel. All right, see you guys.